Yeah, it was dumb, it was stupid, it was whatever. We don't fucking remember it. Like we remember it because it was weird, but the fact that it was called one of the saddest moments in WWE history, get the fuck over yourself. Get the absolute fuck over yourself.
Yeah, I think it's just timing. I think the timing probably was worse that they could have done in that. Like if they would have done it a week earlier prior to people speaking negatively about Jericho, I don't think it would have as big of a impact.
No, but everyone likes to target WWE because they're the big bad. That's
Well,
that.
They're the Disney of wrestling.
They're the Disney of wrestling. And you know what? Um, People shit on Disney all the time. How many fucking subscribers does Disney Plus have?
It's insane. Here's the best part. My girl, super big in animation, loves Disney as the production company for their movies. Hates the company.
So here's the thing. People act like I think that Vince McMahon is this godsend to earth and he's absolutely just an absolute saint. I've never said that. Never once have I said that Vince McMahon is a good man. He's an honest man. It's a fucking corporation. All
Mm-hmm.
right? It's wrestling. Okay? It's wrestling. It's carny bullshit.
Yeah.
It's always been, no matter where you go, because I've been at the fucking bottom of the fucking barrel, and I've been wrapping light tubes next to John Moxley. I've been there. All of it is carny bullshit. I
Mm-hmm.
love it, and I love places like Paradigm Pro Wrestling and Zero One USA for giving me opportunities to work with them. They have treated me great, but I know wrestling is a carny bullshit business. As simple as that.
It is, and it's funny when you talk to the people that have been in there for a while, because like I've talked with just incredible like 4 times now,
Mhm.
and he kind of stuck to this whole thing. He goes, "It's carny." He goes, Vince might try to sell like this is big corporation. He goes, but everything's exactly as it was before. It's just expanded where more people see it.
Yeah, it's all it is, and it's it's crazy. It's crazy to me that just like I don't know, man. It's just
I get your point. I get your
yeah.
point. It's just, and I'm kind of like in that whole thing where I just want WWE to do better because it was weird when I go back into like the early 2000s and it feels like, wow, this is actually better than what it is today. And I will tell you, I did realize one of the things I really hate. I fucking hate the LED turnbuckles and I hate the LED apron. I hate that with a
Yeah,
passion.
I'm not a fan of those, but here's a crazy thing. Here's an absolutely crazy thing if you think about it.
Yeah,
All right. We all love the ruthless aggression era. We all love the attitude era, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um but we grew up in that era, correct?
Oh yeah, nostalgia goggles for sure.
Yeah, nostalgia goggles. But even if we try to take the nostalgia goggles off, um I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. Now there are way bigger Spider-Man fans out there than me. There are way
Mhm.
bigger Spider-Man fans out there than me. But I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I think Tobey Maguire does a better job as Spider-Man than Tom Holland. And a lot of people my age think that. Let's go to the younger audience. Who plays the better Spider-Man? Is it Tom Holland or is it Tobey Maguire? A lot of younger viewers will say it's Tom Holland. So we look back at this, and even if we try to take the nostalgia goggles off, it's just what we know.
Mhm.
When we were kids and we were watching something, and that was the cool thing, that is what it was, and that's always going to be cool for us, and that's always what's going to be the standard. Um, I I have worked with a promotion, and the promoter is a huge Hulk Hogan fan. He's a huge '80s wrestling fan, so he books his promotion like an '80s wrestling promotion. Because that's what he likes, because that's what he grew up with, and to him, that's the best promotion out. That's the best type of wrestling out there. There's a lot of younger viewers out there now that are going back to the Attitude Era, the coveted Attitude Era, and seeing that a bunch of matches are kind of shit, and it's just kind of dumb. It
It's funny you bring this up because somebody did a video, and I'm pretty sure he's younger than me. That's the sad part, where he's talking about how great the Attitude Era was. I'm like, it's not as good as you remember it.
like
If you want to compare the two between Ruthless Aggression and Attitude, I get why people like the Attitude, but
mhm.
the talent's more in the Ruthless Aggression era.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I think that's the thing. We look at Star Wars. I'm also a huge Star Wars fan. I don't know how you feel about Star Wars.
I like 4, 5, 6, and 3. I don't like 2.
That's fine. That's fine. 2. I don't give a fuck what anybody says about the sequels. Attack of the Clones is the worst Star Wars movie. Straight up.
That's funny. You picked 2.
Yeah. That's why I was like when you were like I don't like 2 and I'm like don't like 2. It fucking sucks. But
this is gonna fucking date me. I saw 3 the night I graduated from high school. And it just released.
I saw 3 on its opening day. I was in 4th grade.
Yeah.
3rd grade, I think. 3rd or 4th grade.
I was graduating high school and it was 1:00 in the morning.
And it was just, and the thing about Star Wars is now, everyone talks about how shit the fucking sequels are. How shit the sequels are. They're absolute dog shit. They're an absolute disgrace to Star Wars. I remember when the exact same things were being said about the prequels. But now the prequels are just okay. They're not as good as the original trilogy, but they're pretty good, right? Huh? Right?
No. The sequels are that bad, honestly.
I don't think the prequels are that bad. I don't. I just remember when everyone was talking shit about the prequels and how saying that they shouldn't have even been made. But now that the sequels are made, everyone's like, no, the sequels are all right because that's what they grew up with.
Yeah. I don't know why the hate is for the sequels. Like I can see the parallels between the original 3, 4, 5, and 6, but I don't even think they're bad. I don't
think they're bad either.
That they get.
So as a huge Star Wars fan, here's what I'll say: Force Awakens was a complete restart of Star Wars, which it needed. It's been what fucking 15 years since a Star Wars movie.
Force Awakens was in 2018, so it would have been 13 years.
Force Awakens was 2015.
Was it 15? I thought it was 18.
No, it was 2015.
Okay, so 10 years.
Yeah, so it's 10 years.
Because
10 years since the Star Wars movie,
Revenge of the Sith, came out in 2005.
So, so Star Wars, so Force Awakens, they needed a restart. Last Jedi, I will say, is all over the place. The plot is all over the place. But it's not a bad movie. Not a bad movie by any means. It takes risk. You mean you're telling me that you're killing the Emperor off in the second movie? Yeah. What the hell? Now you're just setting up the big bad that is Kylo Ren. Mm-hmm. And then Rise of Skywalker, they kind of go back to what an original plan was, that although they didn't have a fucking plan. That's my biggest complaint about the sequel trilogy, that there was no plan. Mm-hmm. Because the prequel trilogy was all part. I don't know if you know this about Star Wars. In 1976, George Lucas had the plot for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 all together. He had the plot for all of them. He was like, what's something that I can do and what's something I can end on? I will do 4, 5, and 6.
I kind of remember that story. I think he was, if I remember correctly, 4, 5, and 6, he was more or less, he thinks that this would be more marketable than the first 3.
Yeah. So, but the first 3, were still part of his story. That was still part of his plan. Whereas Star Wars 7, 8, 9, they didn't have a plan. Right. But anyway, try to tying it back to wrestling. A lot of people really just, they like what they know. And era isn't as bad. Now John Cena isn't as bad as we all said he was. And now Roman Reigns isn't as bad as we're all saying he is. So wrestling fans don't know what they want. They'll never know what they want.
And that's the funny thing. So when I try to criticize Roman, because, and this goes back to John Cena, because when John Cena was big, I was in my early 20s, I think.
Were you a John Cena hater?
In 2010, I was. And I didn't hate him because I didn't think he was a decent guy. I hated him because I'm like, can we stop riding his coattails, please? like
see, I was a kid and I was like, fuck yeah, John Cena.
my brother who's just about to turn 20, big John Cena fan, big John Cena fan, and I get it. But I was just like, can we do it on put it on somebody else? And I was when CM Punk came around in 2011, actually before that, I became a fan of him because of the Straight Edge Society.
That's the whole reason I became a fan of CM Punk, was not Straight Edge Society, just the fact he was like, I'm straight edge. And when you have a drug addict dad, you're like, oh, I can resonate with this.
So, to tie into CM Punk, I actually find this is going to sound kind of creepy in a way, but I find serial killers interesting. I read up a lot about them.
I find serial killers so interesting.
Okay, so when I saw him start doing the Straight Edge Society, I'm like, oh fuck, we're getting to Charles Manson water here. I like this.
Yeah.
So that's where I became a fan of him, even better in 2011, where he cut that promo and shit. So, but when it came to John Cena, I'm like, he doesn't seem too bad as a wrestler and as a guy. He does a lot of stuff for the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Work.
I'm like, but I don't think he needs to be the top guy anymore. He doesn't need to be Super Cena anymore. And with Roman Reigns, I'm like, can WWE not follow this formula, because it backfired with John Cena a bit, and it seems to be backfiring with Roman now. And when he came back as the heel, I'm like, okay, I dig this character, and now he's a sociopath, so I dig it as a character.
So my podcast, the Best in the World podcast, our whole gimmick is that we take a look at the best wrestlers in the world and the best matches that they've ever had. We recorded the episode for at the time of this recording, we recorded the episode last night, and the episode came out today as of this recording. And we covered Big Show. Big Show's best match was against Roman Reigns at Extreme Rules 2015. And watching that back, I remember Extreme Rules 2015. I was like, fuck Roman Reigns. He doesn't fucking deserve to be in this spot. Blah, blah, blah. He's not even that good. Fuck. That man can goddamn go. Like, just watching that back when you don't have that shitty, marky attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. He's so good.
I give him a lot of credit for his match against Undertaker, because Undertaker got knocked out and he had to carry him through it.
Oh, yeah. Like, that's the thing that people... And that's why I try to give AEW, all the way back to AEW. That's why I try to give them criticism. Mm-hmm. Because I think when you have to look at wrestling, if you're going to critique it, you have to take yourself out of the picture. Mm-hmm. You have to take yourself out of it. You have to take your bias out of it. Like Raw, we all know Raw sucks. I don't need to fucking tell you that. I don't need to fucking tell you that. I can take myself out of it and be like, yeah, this is a boring fucking show. Also, it's 3 hours long. Fuck me, man. I don't know. Like, if a 3-hour wrestling show on the Independents can kind of fly by, but a 3-hour wrestling show... I will say this, though. I'll say this. I was at a Raw live. I was at the Raw whenever Enzo and Cass broke up. Mm-hmm. Fucking flew by.
Speaking of a live show, I went to a SmackDown live show in 2018 when they came here to Tampa.
Yeah.
Usos are amazing in person.
I'm sure. Yeah.
They're entertaining as hell.
And that's the thing. It's because you're sitting at home watching it. Mm-hmm. You're sitting at home watching it. Raw, SmackDown, AEW. Unless it's a pay-per-view where you're like, I'm going to sit here and invest in this story because I'm fucking paying for it. You're not. Mm-hmm. You don't want to invest in that. I spent $15 on GCW's Backyard Wrestling 3 because I was like, oh shit, Atticus Kogar versus Otis Kogar in a backyard setting. Fuck yeah, this is gonna be fun. I have yet to watch that match because the show's 3 hours long, and it's 3.5 hours long. I spent $15 on that pay-per-view. I've yet to watch that whole fucking pay-per-view because it's 3 hours long. It's hard for me to devote that time. I don't want to devote 3 hours to wrestling. I barely want to devote 2 hours to wrestling. Mm-hmm. I have an idea in my head of a wrestling show that's 30 minutes long because I feel like that's enough. That is enough nowadays. If I can tell a story, if fucking Big Bang Theory can tell a shitty fucking story in 30 minutes, so can I.
What's funny is you mentioned Raven earlier. I listened to his podcast. He mentioned the only reason that he goes, we actually did a study when I worked at WWF that the average viewer loses its train of train of concentration on a TV show at the 2 hour and 15-minute mark. So they like apparently did a study at the WWF in the mid 90s about how